Enamel, no good. Lacquer, excellent for rims. Epoxy, excellent for rims. Right over the bare metal or aluminum. Okay. Don't do this on the front of the rim. You don't want the front of the rim to get ugly. This is just a wire wheel. It's not too bad. It's not too harsh on the rim. It's not too hard of a wire wheel. But this is to help cheat to get the brake dust off quicker than normal. Otherwise, I would use an Easy Off oven cleaner, which works excellent. Not the generic brand. The generic brand does not work well. So anyway. Alright, we're going through the final prepping process to my liking. Everybody's going to be different. Some people are going to want to pull the tires off the rim. That's very recommended. But in my case, I just had these tires mounted. And as you can see, they did an external weight balance, which is really shitty looking. But you know what? It doesn't vibrate on the interstate at 100, so I'm good. So I just want to paint the exterior of these rims and make them look good. Now the reason I'm wiping them down is because I just got finished grinding all the barium dust off, the brake dust, that I'm probably going to catch cancer in a couple of years from.
Yeah, that's a lot of dust.
And probably catch dementia and Alzheimer's from that, but not anytime soon. So no worries there for now. No offense to anybody that has dementia while watching this program. Okay, so if I wanted to paint this rim, nice, I would have taped up this side, the back side, and the front side. If you want to know what we prep this rim with, we only use solutions that contain lye and detergent. Lye,
L-Y-E,
eats at aluminum. The two products that contain lye that I use the most happen to be
Easy Off
oven cleaner and that
this stuff.
Zep purple. Don't try purple power from the dollar store. Use this Zep.
Industrial purple degreaser.
Okay, you put that in a spray bottle, spray your rim down. If your rim's already free from brake dust and stuff, and all you have is external goo, then spray it down with this stuff. By the way, that eats the first layer of rubber off the tire, which is awesome because it actually brings the tire back to a natural state so you can armor roll it. Now if tires start to turn brown over time, this pulls the rubber back black again. So that's just a little lesson in what I use to clean tires. It only takes a second too.
Go get that stuff Zep from Home Depot. That's the only store that sells it, I think.
No, they sell it online. They sell it all over the place, but maybe even at Walmart for all I know. Maybe not in California. I don't know. But that's what I did basically. I stripped this rim with Easy Off, and then I used Zep behind it, and I used a tire scrub brush. And what I couldn't get off with brake dust, because I was impatient, I didn't let the Easy Off sit on the back of the rim. It would have eaten that off too. Let it sit for about 20 minutes with Easy Off. Now, be mindful if you're trying to clean rims with this stuff, lye, especially aluminum, don't do it because it will discolor it. Lacquer's only going to be painted with 3 thin coats over this rim. And believe it or not, those 3 thin coats will last for the next 10 years on this rim, even in a 250 degree temperature range. From the brake. Alright. Unfortunately, this is the part that sucks. This is the part in which I was too lazy to go to the tire shop and have them remove the tire and rebalance it. So now I'm stuck taping the tire and the rim. Now, I've tried things in the past, like making a template out of cardboard with the hole cut out. Tried all kind of stuff. The thing that I found that worked the best besides tape, and it takes a little bit more ingenuity, is Vaseline. You take Vaseline and rub it all over the tire, and then around the rim. I mean, don't touch the rim. That's the hardest part, not to touch the rim. And then after you finish painting, let it dry for a while and go to the pressure washer and pressure wash the tire. Well, Vaseline paint doesn't like to stick to oil. Oh, that's another thing. Don't touch the rim after you've cleaned it. You can get dust on it and then blow it back off. But do not touch it, because the oil from your fingers gets on your rim. Causes your paint to not stick. A lot of people complain about how they can't do a proper paint job, and they blame it on the kind of paint they use and all that. It's not that. It's that you didn't clean it, prep it properly. Painting is only about 10% of the job. Prepping is the other 90% to a good paint job that holds up. And of course the quality and the type of paint that you use. For instance, this lacquer, Dupli-Color, you might try to find it in other colors because you might decide I want another color. Well, I wouldn't recommend trying to go with a lacquer in another color. This just happens to be what I choose for silver because it has sort of a lacquer clear coat in it mixed with a silver metal fleck. And that's the reason it gives me a factory looking design. You'll notice after the finished product is done. Alright, so it's about almost 100 degrees out here, if not 100. What is it?
It's about 99.
Good, come on. So it's 99 degrees out here.
With not so much humidity.
Oh, there's a lot of humidity out here, trust me. I'm sweating my ass off. So, first step, set your tire up on something that you're going to paint on. Do I have to really say that to you? Anyway, you want to bring the temperature of the steel that you're painting or the aluminum that you're painting above the temperature of the outside air. And that will draw out all the humidity from the steel. Because if you paint in this kind of weather right now without preheating this metal, and I use a handheld blow dryer that I found on a job somewhere, took some chick left behind. But anyway, you want to heat the steel up, or aluminum up rather, to above the temperature, even if it's 5 or 10 degrees above, and draw out the humidity. So that's what we're going to do first, and then after we get it going all the way around, go ahead, start. Keep going in a circle. Okay, I'm going to start. Just finish getting it warm, laying a foundation. Why didn't I tape up the inside of the rim? The inside of the tire. There's a good reason for that. Because I don't care about the inner lip of the rim. All I care about painting these particular rims. Okay, this is a little bit of a thick coat than I would put on the front side. Alright, follow with the blow dryer. Alright, 3 minutes later, here we go again. Remember, short bursts, unless you're going in a long area, on a long run. Like I said, why don't I care that I'm putting a thick coat on this side and not spreading them out between 3 and 4 thin coats? Because this is the inside of the rim, and unless you're going to a car show, nobody's going to stick their head underneath the front bumper or in the fender well and look at the inside of your damn rim. This is just for the purpose of looking through the rim. Okay. Toss the Toyota center cap on. I'm going to paint it with the center cap on because I want the sheen to match. Ready?
Go.
Get it hot. Ready? Alright, next coat, going after the crevices again of the rim. The creases and crevices of the rim. This is a pretty heavy coat, but the rim is sitting flat, so there's little room for runs.
Yeah.
Normally, if the rim was sitting upright on the car or something else, I would have done it differently. I would have put very thin coats on it. Flow dry. Okay. Let's walk around. Is it fake? Does it look fake or factory?
Looks close to factory to me.
Kind of fake, but factory, but not too hubcappy, right?
Yeah.
And when we stick that emblem back in the middle,
It'll look more factory than it does right now.
More factory than fake, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a serious problem with this rim. This is actually a defect, a defecto rim. So this is going to be the worst rim on the car, but we're not going to strip it down and take the paint back off because it's a pain in the ass. So, because we're going to need lacquer thinner to do it. This was a problem right here. We bought a paint that was on sale, and I forgot a long time ago. The old timers told me that lacquer paint has a shelf life. It will go bad. So what initially happened was when our first can.
I think we have it on video actually.
Yeah, well, it was clumping up on us fast, creating a texture. Now it's supposed to create some texture, but not that much. And so that's what happened. So on the back side of the rim when we first started, I wiped most of that off after it dried with a towel, because the clear coat in the actual paint dried up, the lacquer dried up inside the paint, and it was spraying powder. And that's what happens when lacquer paint goes bad and it's been on the shelf too long. So word to the wise, from experience, once again, buy lacquer, at least lacquer paint that's up to date. Look, and this is what I'm talking about. This shit dried before it even hit the rim. It means all the lacquer in it was gone, dried up. But anyway, we used the other can. And we kind of wiped off some of it and went right back over it. And this is what we come out with. Not exactly like I wanted, but close enough. And as it dries more and more, it won't have that paint look. It'll sort of level out and have more of a flatter tone, aluminum tone. Yeah, that's before paint. That's almost as clean as they can get. I mean, you can wash them, but they still look faded, sort of grayish. grayish. You don't want them to. You don't want them to stand out with chrome either. This front one, still dull from brake dust, but even when you clean it up, it looks tarnished and two-tone. And that's the one we painted. You're gonna see it when I pull the car around and the light. Now that's gonna be the ugliest rim because of that paint malfunction. The bad paint that they sold us. Alright, so this is what the wheel paint job looks like from the side. It's the back wheel, of course. Not too dull, not too shiny, and it should keep that sheen throughout the years. Why do I know that? Because I painted that grille. Now that's only been on there about 4 months. Now hold on a second. Let me show you something that I painted 10 years ago. Well, actually 9 years and maybe 6 or 7 months. That. I separated the chrome trim from this. And it still has a sheen after 10 years. Same paint. We also painted those. Those were chrome before. We painted them with VHT black. That's epoxy enamel. And they're holding up. We painted those about 4 or 5 years ago. Alright, so we popping the front off on the same side. We want to at least, if we're going to quit the job and get more, want to at least have one side matching. We're going to run around town with just the back rims cleaner. So we're going to do the right side of the car first, the passenger side. Okay. Hey, where's that VHT? I have a little bit left in the can. Oh, we changed the struts and all that on this car. Alright, let me see it. What do I have? A little bit left?
Yeah.
I don't care if this caliper's dirty or not. This VHT will go right over it.
Let's start cleaning this one. So
remove the weights?
Remove those stick-on weights?
No, because I use weather strip adhesive on them.
Good.
And please, nobody comment and say, "Oh man, you compromised your brake pads." Bullshit. That stuff, that'll burn off in a second on the rotor. You know, so one idiot put a comment on the forum that said, spraying carburetor cleaner on your vacuum lines compromised your vacuum lines to check for vacuum leaks. Boy, they got some people out there with some crazy advice. Yes, the cleaning process. This rim wasn't as dirty as the other one with all the brake dust. I think we cleaned this one in the past. Somewhat.
We did.
Did we? Okay. So we're going to use this chemical with lye in it. This is the degreaser you get from Home Depot at different places. Or get it online. This is Zep. Heavy duty degreaser. Some rims are complicated because you got all these crevices and some are not. So hopefully you get some that are not to paint. When we painted VHT on these black rims over here, we didn't have nearly the problem on these four-wheel drive rims. See, I could take this and clean that back up after being through everything, and it'll come back to a sort of a satin finish, a little bit better than a satin, maybe a satin roughly, which is better, which is pretty good looking. I painted the in and outside of these rims off, tires off, and then they were painted with the VHT, and they were painted in the same method, and it turned out good. And like I said, it's been underwater many times. These rims were actually, one of them was or two of them were actually painted in the rain, right before a hard rain, underneath a shelter. Anyway, this is the center cap that we painted before with that enamel that they sell that says specifically for rims. It's nowhere near the color of the other. I mean, it is, but it isn't. This has almost like a dull tint to it. And you can't see it as good on the camera, but it's got like a dull tint, and its shine is already starting to fade from the last time I painted it. Look, and you can scratch it. Paint. Now this is just spray paint. Now, you know, I do this on something you're going to sell or drive around daily. I wouldn't do this on something you're going to show. You know, I'd go get some nice chromed rims, or some rims that are dipped, or some rims that are powder coated, or even anodized. I wouldn't fool around with painting rims, but for everyday drivers and mud riders and stuff like that, that's something you want to last, or even something you want to sell to look factory, like this car for a 1994, being in 2019. I mean, this car's over 25 years old. So anyway, it's a good option, a cheap option to take care of the problem, make the car look better. Alright, so this factory rim, I mean, you can see that you can only get it so clean. And the problem with factory aluminum rims is that they were pre-shined from the factory, and then they were clear coated. And this is what it looks like when the clear coat starts to fade from the sunlight. The problem with that is you can't just go try to shine it, because you're going to pull the clear coat off. If you pull the clear coat off, you can pull aluminum to a mirror shine.
It won't hold it.
But it won't hold it. And if you try to shine it and go back to a clear coat, I've tried that too. What happens is the aluminum tarnishes under the clear coat. It just takes a little bit longer for that process to happen. So you're kind of screwed there. And if you got a rim that's really corroded, like most of the newer cars, they get a corrosion on them that starts bubbling up. You have to go in and spray that with some kind of serious oven cleaner, and then after that you're going to have to go at it with some kind of sandpaper, or my recommendation is, for speed and time, to save speed and time, is get a cone-shaped wire wheel on a drill or something faster like a grinder, and just go at the rim and knock all that crap off, and then try to sand it to a smooth finish, and then paint it. And that's about the best you can do, unless you want to sit there with a Dremel tool and some jeweler's rouge and just sit there and polish the aluminum and keep on polishing it for years to come in the future. Now, you can do that. That's what my buddy's doing with his Jeep, but it's a hell of a thing to maintain. But for everyday use, this is probably your best option. So don't go run out and buy a can of Walmart chrome spray paint and spray paint your ride with that, your rims, because trust me, it's going to look just like what you paid for. We laugh at cars like that every day. So this one's coming out a lot better, because we don't have that. We got rid of that paint that was bad, the bad batch.
Different can.
Different can. This one's coming out a lot better. So this is a good can of lacquer paint, and we're getting the desired results. Now this cloudiness is going to eventually dry.
That's the first coat.
Yeah, well, it's going to eventually dry and become all one color. Alright, now let's hit it with the blow dryer. And then we'll do one final coat, and that'll be it. Alright, well, not even dry yet, but we're taking the paint off. I mean the tape off. And it all looks good except for the center cap. I kind of stuck it on there a little bit in a different position. And I've got to put the Toyota emblem on. And looks like this is the protege rim of what we were trying to accomplish the first time around. So we're learning as we're making this video, trying to teach other people, or at least give them pointers and advice on what to do. So I guess if you have a clean tire, you can go ahead and use masking tape, even in 100-degree weather at a high humidity. If you clean the tire, good enough. The other tire we had to peel duct tape off of. It was sticking to it even though we used 3M. Valve stem tape. See the back. The back is not exactly our protege. Front came out pretty good because we didn't have a bad can of paint.
Back.
Center cap doesn't seat properly, but it's okay. It's not a paint job. Alright, it's better.
Definitely looks better than tarnished aluminum.
Yeah. Better. Now let's just drop the car and see how it looks. Alright, so we got a cheap can of Shine we found. I don't even know if it's still good. Some of this. This should be good for the next 10 years.
Think that'll mess up the paint job?
Nope. Rain or shine. Why do you think they put lacquer on old cars? They don't do it anymore because it's too hard to get it to shine. That's why I said choose that Ford silver color because of
gray metallic.
Because of the gray metallic fleck in it. Yeah. It'll keep a shine. If you try some blue or some other color that's lacquer, it's probably going to turn out dull. When this starts to get dull, you're not going to notice it as much because of the silver metallic in it. And like I said, lacquer's been on cars from the beginning. It's one of the first automotive paints that they used. But they used to have to, you know, go through several stages of painting to make lacquer shine. That's why sometimes when you see old 40s cars and 30s cars and 60s vehicles, I don't know if it goes back that far, but when you see 60s vehicles still in the junkyard or sitting up in a barnyard, they still have half the paint left on it. It's not shiny or anything, but it's still there. That's because they use lacquer. And lacquer is such a tedious process to get to shine. They have to put it on, and they have to buff it or do something. Then they have to sand it, wet sand it, then they have to paint it again, then they have to put a clear on it and paint it again. You gotta do all kinds of processes to lacquer. Anyway, lacquer is a really thin but tough paint. And so that's why I recommend don't use any of that shit on the market that they sell you